So now that I have a tripod, I think everything has to be perfect. This is take 4 of this video. It probably would have been better to just get it on and be timely and more effective that way, but I want to do a good job now. I'm really trying here. So anyway, what this video is all about is this is all about how to install your HID kit with regards to wiring and polarity. And rather than just say, here's how you do it for this particular vehicle, I think it would be more pertinent to do it in terms of this is the principles behind it. Here's how to get the right setup for your vehicle, and it'll apply to more people. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is I'm going to talk about polarity specific means of lighting, and I'm going to use LEDs as an example because it's the same with HIDs. You have to have it polarity specific. That means positive has to go to positive and negative has to go to negative. And if you don't have it that way, you're not going to have dire awful result, but you're just not going to have anything light up. So let's start off with an example on the workbench here. I've got a battery and I've got my power probe hooked up to it. With a power probe, you can read what the power is, but you can also send power with it. See, if I probe the battery, that's my positive, that's my negative. This is a power probe 3. People are going to ask about that. It does have a voltmeter right there. And I've got a bajillion miles of cord I'm tripping over here. But anyway, so let's get started. I've got this LED 3157 and I have an incandescent 3157. Now both of these are just awesome. This is awesome because it has tungsten in it, and tungsten is just amazing. It's not very efficient for lighting because you have so much energy lost due to heat, and it's slow to power up and slow to power down. But that tungsten is just the most incredible metal in the world. Any other metal would just burn up, but it doesn't, so that's why we use that. And this is an LED, and it's amazing because it's a light emitting diode. It's a diode that specifically gives light without wasting a lot to heat, but it's polarity specific. So seriously, I can't get this video done. Okay, so as I was saying, if I have this on the ground and I hook up to this and run power to it, it lights up. However, if I switch it around and run the ground on this side, it's going to burn it up. Don't do it! Ah! Actually, just nothing happens. The bulb still works, it's still good, but it's unidirectional. You have to have it set up to run that way. Anyway, HIDs are the same way. You got to run your power to the power side of the ballast, and you have to run your ground to the ground side of the ballast. That sounds no big deal if you're hooking it up to a battery. But if you're hooking it up to your headlight switch and you want it to run when you put your headlights on, you want your brights to work when you do your brights, you don't want to rewire all that, then you're going to have some strategy to make that happen. I'll explain more later. Now with your incandescent bulb and what we're used to and what your vehicle's wired to have is these incandescent bulbs. When you go to hit this, look at all that, it's just ground is going through the whole thing because the ground is going up and across the incandescent side and then back down the wire. So basically it's ground. If I say ha, power, or I go to the back side, power. If I can get the ground alligator clip to work. There you go. I know it's going to go or not go before it even happens. Basically I can do it on that side, I can flip it around to the other side, it doesn't matter. It's not polarity specific. I don't even know if that's an official term, but it works for me, dang it. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is, say you don't want to spend $200 on a Power Probe 3 and have a voltmeter and all that in it. This is your best option, because if you stick this on ground, bam, it's ground. You stick it on positive, it's positive. We talked about that already. I just love that. That's the coolest concept of that tool, that and the circuit breaker. If you go to run power to the ground, power, then it says CB, circuit breaker, reset. Oh, what a cool tool that is. So here's the deal. You've got your continuity tester, which is $5, and you can do this with it. So you stick it on the ground when it's hooked to ground and nothing happens. Nothing! Stick it on wood, nothing happens. Plastic. anything else you stick it on, nothing happens. But when it's hooked to negative and you stick it to power, I see the light. It lights up. Now it works the same way if you hook it up to something that has power. This is going to be a reference video, by the way. I'm going to be sending everybody to this because I want to teach them this, so many different examples that it applies to. So I hook it up to positive, nothing, 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 nothing. You stick it up your nose, ow! Nothing. You stick it to ground when it's hooked to power. You see the light. You can see that there's current flow. So continuity, if you will. That's why they call it a continuity tester. All right, to the whiteboard. I even turned the lights on and erased everything and got it ready. Did I say who this video is for? It's for Oak 91161. I'm so tired I can't remember or even think straight right now. But I'm doing a video for you anyway, because you guys are awesome, and that's just the way it is. So I'm going to step it up, and I'm going to give you my best. Even though I'm tired, my best isn't my ultra best, but it is going to work, I think. So the first thing that you do when you're going to do an LED or HID setup on your vehicle is you're going to have to do a map. And a lot of these kits, they'll come with a plug that you can just plug right into, but the plug was never designed for HID. And what I mean is that it's not polarity specific. We just talked about that. So here's what the plug looks like for like a 9004 or a 9007 or any of these other ones like a 9003. So you've got 3 wires. I'm going to have to switch to a different marker. This one is not working. So you got 3 wires on a plug like that. And if you have a 9005 bulb that just has power and ground, oh, that's so easy. Or a 9006, you know, if you have a 4 bulb system on the front of your car, but if it's just a 2 bulb system and each of those bulbs can do high and low beams, then it's going to be a little bit tricky. And here's how this goes. Why are there 3? You just have high beam and low beam, right? You got high, high. You got low, low. And you've got off. Why am I doing off? I don't know. I just felt like it. It must be because I'm tired, right? No. It matters because of the DIN wire system, which is German wiring, where they have power all the time and supply the ground. And sometimes they'll have one wire where on your low beam it's positive and on your high beam it's negative. One moment, please. Okay, I turned my phone off. I locked the door. I put a sign on the door that I'm filming. Let's do this, shall we? What can go wrong? I'll tell you what can go wrong. I hauled off my blue marker. Here it is. Okay, we talked about the DIN wiring system, about how you can have one wire that does both positive and negative, and it's growing in popularity because of Daimler Chrysler and a bunch of other companies are doing it. So Daimler's the one that owns Mercedes, and they bought Chrysler. Now they sold it off. I think Toyota or somebody owns it. It's a bunch of car companies own pieces of each other, basically. I don't understand that exactly, but the influence is clear. So, high beam, low beam, off. So, we've always got power here. That's popular in the DIN system. I'm not saying yours is this way. I'm saying you better map the dang thing because crazy stuff happens. That's what I'm saying. So, what you do is you've got your positive and your negative on your battery. So, you hook it up and you go through, and as you hook it up to the positive, nothing happens. Nothing happens, it lights up. So right on your map, negative. And then in the next instance, you go to the next one, and it says positive and positive, you know, nothing happens and nothing happens. You don't put anything. And so, well, this would have to be negative or nothing. No, it has to be negative because your low beam has to get power somewhere. So, moving right along, let's say that this one goes positive, and then when it's off, it's just nothing on these, and it's this way. And usually there'll be a dud somewhere. So you want to capitalize on the differences, but you got to be careful, because if you run double positive or double negative or whatever, you're going to be hosed. You're not going to get anything to light up. So here we go. And the other thing is if you have your positive working, you run a ground for one of these instead of using the ground that's supplied, you're also going to be in trouble because you would turn your headlight off and it's not going to turn off, they'll stay on. So as you're mapping this, you got to be aware of those things. So if you hook up to your negative on your continuity tester, your alligator clip to that, that'll light up, and nothing. Nothing, light up, nothing, light up, nothing. So you kind of get the idea there. So if I were doing the headlight system on this, and I'm gonna mess it up just because I'm tired, I'd have to trial and error my way through this with the mental state that I'm in. But basically, if you want to run your LED bulb, you're going to have a positive and a negative. You're going to have a positive and a negative for this that's different than that, so that you have them work with your switches. So if positive is on all the time in this example, and usually they're just completely dead or they make sense and don't share or switch around or do any of this crazy nonsense doing wiring, and it won't be this hard for you. But on a situation with the Chrysler, it's going to be crappy like this, just trust me. So what do we have here? We've got a positive negative switch here, and we've got a situation here. So if you have a double positive running to your ballast, because your ballast, here's your ballast box, you've got 4 wires coming out of it. You got a plus and a minus going in, and then you have a plus and a minus going out. Don't even worry about this one. Who cares? It just goes to your bulb and it's going to do its thing right if you do this right. So for this, if you have a positive and a positive, nothing happens. You have a negative and a negative, nothing happens. It just won't light up. It's unidirectional. And that's the way with all of them that I've encountered. Now, I'm not saying that there's some new brand made in China that's going to just, take a crap on you, stick its tongue out. But anyway, the long and the short of it is, mine all came from Japan or Germany, and they're good. I've never run into Chinese ones yet. I'm sure they'll come out and they'll die. But basically, if you run power into here, you're going to be good. So moving right along, given that this is always power, and on my high beams it's incandescent, so I just need to get it to light up when situation's right for that. And with the low beam, you only have one option for a supplied switch to ground, but you're going to have to choose and divide up your wires. Now say experimentally, let's get rid of these so I can draw lines to the middle one. Say so for experiment or sake of argument or whatever you want to call it, you run this one to the positive and you run this one to the negative. Now you've got low beams when you turn the low beam switch on, and you have them turn off when it's off. Now what does that leave you over here? If you're using this as a switched wire, I'd just forget about that one for the high beam and don't even have it go to the high beam for your incandescent. And if that's gone, then you're going to have to use your positive here, and that means that your negative or your switched wire is going to have to be here. Now here's a bad example of what to do. The squiggly's bad, but also if you're doing negative like that, it's going to screw you up, because when it goes positive, if it goes positive into an incandescent, you're going to blow a fuse. Kaboom! So can't do that. So you're like, okay, well, I'll just run positive to the battery and put a fuse on it, an inline fuse. Does that work? No, it still blows the fuse when it goes negative to positive. No, that'll light up. Let me think about it. That'll probably work. But you get the idea of what I'm saying. You got to kind of strategize on it. So on this one, you're not running anything for the low beam. You're not even using this one here. So you want to use this for your switch, and actually you're okay. Okay, I got ahead of myself. I messed up. But like I said, I'm tired. So that's how you set it up. And then when you turn your headlights off, it's off. You want to capitalize on the extra one that's a switched one so that it'll work. This isn't my best video, but as you can see, I've got a lot of resistance to getting her done. but I got her done anyway. I think you get the idea, and you'll have to map it, trial and error, figure it out. You're going to blow some fuses. If you wind up running positive, say on one of these that you decide you have to use power because your switched one is ground and you can't use the positive because you used it on the other one, just make sure that you run a fuse if you're going to run a hot wire to it all the time the way that they did here. So you'll have to be a little bit creative. I'm not going to hold your hand through the whole process, but I will point you in the right direction with this video. So first thing you do is you map it, then you create a strategy. And most of the time, bless their hearts, you'll have a setup that's not DIN wiring, but you don't know until you probe it. So probe it, that's what I'm saying. But most of the time, you'll have ground as a constant, and then this one lights up for your high beam, and then this one lights up for your low beam, and then they go away in between. And that's the way to do it, manufacturers, son of a gun. So anyway, I hope this is helpful to you. This isn't necessarily an easy thing. I mean, it's like playing a game of tic-tac-toe sometimes. You know, you try this and it doesn't work, try that, and so on. So hope you like the video. I know this isn't my best video. I tried really hard. This is like my 4th take. I had all these interruptions, but they say perfection robs creation. People are like, screw it, I'm not going to do it unless it's the best of the best. But, you know, it doesn't have to be the best. This is my best that I can do in the time frame that I got. So let's get her on there and help some people out, right? Let's not let perfection rob creation.